What's going on, everybody? My name is Monetary, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and today I'm bringing you guys our PPL Division 1 Season 4 Week 3 Team Builder versus Paulie Mack, coach of the Thunderbolten Wanderers. Definitely check out his links in the description below. He is a very good friend of mine. He is a very good battler as well. He is the other person who got promoted last season with me. He came in second place last season. He gave us our closest match of last season. It ended up in a 2-0 for us. And yeah, that is that. He is definitely a very good battler. He has a horrifying team, a team that should be popping up on screen now. His team consists of Latios, Manaphy, Zapdos, Registeel, Emboar, Crocodile, Hitmonchan, Garbodor, and Mega Audino. So he has a horrifying team. The first three picks, I have no idea why anybody let him get those. Latios, Manaphy, and Zapdos, in my opinion, are all round 1 worthy picks, and they synergize beautifully together, and he was just able to grab them. On top of that, he's got Registeel, which is extremely bulky, Emboar and Crocodile, which are very good for his team, Hitmonchan, Garbodor, Mega Audino. There's nothing on his team that isn't a threat to my team. It's a very solid team. He's got hazard stack options, he's got Volt Turn, he's got immediate offense, he's got great setup options, he's got Scarfers, he's got everything. It is a very well put together, kind of small, compacted team. It only has 9 mons, which is really the only kind of detriment to his team, but even then, it is 9 very, very solid mons, and it's very scary to go against. But with that being said, I believe I'm going to be bringing a team of 6 that will be able to take on whatever team of 6 he decides to bring. So without further ado, let's get into that team. Starting off, we have our Life Orb Beyond Mega, relatively standard, Bug Buzz, Air Slash, Ancient Power, and Protect. We're running a Timid Nature so that we can outspeed a Jolly Scarf Crocodile. I'm pretty sure if he brings a Scarf Crocodile, he's going to speed creep a Modesty on Mega, so I wanted to bring Timid. Timid isn't going to cause us too much of a problem, like we still hit things very hard. He of course does have his checks to this one, like he has the Zapdos, he has Registeel, and he has the Mega Audino that all resist or take my hits very, very well. But I can whittle those things down. Mega Audino is reliant on Wish Protect for its recovery, so I can pressure that thing. Registeel has no reliable recovery whatsoever, and the Zapdos I 2 KO with Ancient Power after Stealth Rock. So that's kind of the game plan there. Just beat his team with that type of beat his team with this Pokemon if I can whittle his checks down enough. There's very little on his team that's O-code by this thing, bar, of course, the Hitmonchan if it's not Assault Vest, the Crocodile, and the Emboar, and as well as the Latios. But, I mean, still, the ability to O-code 4 things and outspeed them is very nice. But if I can whittle his team a little bit, this thing can easily clean up late game. So with that being said, let us now move on to our next mon in Terrakion. So we are bringing a Life Orb substitute Terrakion. I wanted Life Orb just because I wanted the extra power of all 3 of these hits, and I just have sub there to basically because Terrakion is very good at forcing switches. I force out the Zapdos, I can force out the Registeel, I can force out a non-Scarf Crocodile, I can force out the Latios if I bluff a Scarf well enough. So those are all things I can force out. I can even force out like a non-Scarfed Emboar, which is really nice. So this is our Terrakion, of course. The light, like I said, the sub is very nice on it. Because I essentially get a free kill. Like if he goes out in a Latios to revenge kill me, or to break my sub at least, I go for Stone Edge and knock that thing clean out easily, unless he is a very bulky variant. If he goes out into like a Hitmonchan to break my sub with Mach Punch, it dies to Life Orb Close Combat, which is really, really nice. These 3 moves on to his team pretty much obliterate him. Like, Close Combat kills Crocodile, Close Combat kills Hitmonchan, Garbodor's knocked out or heavily weakened by Earthquake, Close Combat 2 KO is especially defensive the Audino, and it has a chance to 2 KO, not fully physically defensive, but after Rocks I can 2 KO physically defensive, I believe. I can Oko Emboar, I can knock out Registeel depending on its spread and its item, I can heavily weaken the Manaphy, and I can possibly knock out the Latios. So this is just a huge, huge offensive threat to his team. It does so much damage, and it's a very scary thing for his team, because one of the problems with his team as well is that it isn't the fastest in the world. The only thing on his team that naturally outspeeds this is the Latios, which means if he does not bring any Scarfers, though I'm pretty sure he's going to bring at least one form of Scarfer, I will be able to just tear through his team. This is an excellent wall breaker. It is an excellent revenge killer. So we're going to see what he decides to do in order to counter this thing. But with that being said, let us now move on to another very important mon versus his team, and that is our Thundurus Incarnate. So we're running an X Repel Thundurus. timid max speed in order to add speed Latios by 1 point. And we're running knockoff with a timid nature because essentially I had Dark Pulse on this thing originally just so I didn't have to go mixed and go with the minus Split F nature or whatever. And then I found out that knockoff from uninvested timid Thunderous does more to Latios than max invested timid Dark Pulse. And I was like, okay, we'll go with knockoff, because knockoff is also really nice. Obviously, if he switches anything in on this, I'll be able to get rid of an item, which is wonderful. Thunderbolt Focus Blast knockoff hit pretty much his entire team. Latios is 2 KO'd by knockoff, Manaphy is O-KO'd or 2 KO'd by Thunderbolt, depending on his investment and his item and whatnot. Zapdos I can beat 1v1 with the taunt, unless he is running a little bit of offensive investment. If I have Rock Slap, then that'll pressure it even further. Registeel I can hit with the Focus Blast for a possible 2 KO. I can also taunt that thing, prevent it from setting up rocks or going for a rest if it is a rest variant. Emboar I will be able to 2 KO with Thunderbolt. Crocodile I OHKO with Focus Blast. Hitmonchan is not the most threatening thing to my team, though I can definitely see him bringing it for that priority Mach Punch as well as just his general move coverage. So I will be able to hit that thing with the Thunderbolt. One of the only things I can't really 2 KO if he's running like a Soul Vest or something like that, but I can still hit that thing for decent damage, and he doesn't necessarily want to switch in on me because I could be physical or I could have Psychic to hit it very hard. Garbodor I 2 KO with Thunderbolt, and I can taunt it to prevent it from setting up spikes and things like that. And Mega Audino is the only thing that can take hits from this, and I was considering running like a Sludge Wave variant or mixed with Iron Tail, but once again, I can shut that thing down with Taunt. So I'll be able to taunt that thing, stop it from setting up in any way, which is really, really good. Also, Thunderous naturally outspeeds his entire team, so I didn't feel the need to run Prankster Taunt. I can just run Defiant Taunt, possibly get intimidated by Crook, bluff the physical set. Maybe he wants to like switch in something on a superpower and I hit them with a special move, so it'll be really nice to possibly bluff that. Maybe play a couple mind games with him, but regardless, this is our Thunderous. It is an enormous threat to his team. I'll be able to do a ton of damage to his team. It's one of the best offensive checks to Manaphy that I could ask for. It just does so well versus his team, and I'm very glad to have it. Now, with that being said, we are now moving on to a mon I'm sure Paul is going to appreciate when it comes in, and that is Piloswine. Piloswine the Piloswine, named after him because he liked Piloswine. He made it look very good, I believe, Season 1 of D2, and it worked out very well. It was really cool, but we are running a 3 attacks Roar variant. Earthquake, Ice Shard, Icicle Spear, and Roar. I have Roar pretty much for this, I believe, the same set I ran versus George, except I had Icicle Crash over Icicle Spear, essentially because Manaphy is horrifying. I don't want it to be like a Subtail Glow Manaphy and poop on me. Also, this stops things like, I can stop like Mega Audino from getting itself a Wish back. But like I said, it's mainly just for the Manaphy, if it gets up a Tail Glow. I'm barely 3 KO'd by Scald if he's offensive, and if he's not offensive, I'm not 3 KO'd by Scald, which is beautiful. Ice Shard and Icicle Spear for the, Ice Shard for the priority. Icicle Spear just to hit certain things a little bit harder. I can hit Latios harder. Also, Icicle Spear over Icicle Crash, just in case he's Yache Berry on anything. I can see him possibly bringing Yache Berry Latios. I can see him possibly being Yache Berry Zapdos, maybe even like a Yache Berry Crocodile with Intimidate in order to deal with this thing, get up rocks reliably, knock me off, things like that. So Icicle Spear pops the Yache Berry, and then I can keep firing off hits, which is really, really nice. And yeah, that is that. Not too much else to really go over. Also, I'm expecting, well, I can switch into Registeel with this thing very comfortably because Iron Head does very, very little damage because Registeel is not that strong. So I'll be able to do that, maybe go for an Earthquake. I have a little bit of speed on this thing in case he decided to bring a little bit of speed on Registeel, so I can like hit him before he goes for something like a Magnet Rise. I deal with the Crocodile very well, I deal with the Latios very well, deal with the Zapdos very well. I can take a hit from Hitmonchan if I have to. I deal with the Garbodor extremely well as well. Drain Punch and Seed Bomb are not doing a ton to me. So this is just a very, very nice mon for his team. I'm able to hit things very hard. I'm able to roar out possible threats. I'm able to get off chip damage with priority Ice Shards. So this is just a very nice mon for his team overall, and I'm hoping it's going to put in some work. So that is our Piloswine with the Eviolite, specially defensive, 3 attacks Roar. That is that. Let us now move on to another mon. This is the first time we are bringing this mon to a game this season, and that is our Forretress. Fully specially defensive with the Aqua Berry. I can take a Heat Wave from Zapdos, I can take an HP Fire from Latios, I can take an HP Fire from Registeel if he decides to do that. Cannot take a Flare Blitz from Emboar, but that's not the point. Can take a Fire Fang from Crocodile if he runs that. Can take a Fire Punch from Hitmonchan. You're getting the point now. I just want to be able to take a hit with this thing. Volt Switch, Toxic, Rapid Spin, Stealth Rock is our moveset. I want this thing to be able to get up rocks. His team is not super rocks weak, but they do pressure his Zapdos if he does bring it. And like I said, rocks are important for a 2-hit KO with Yanmega's Ancient Power onto that thing. Rocks can kind of pressure his team. It'll pressure the Audino since it does not have leftovers. It can pressure things like the like it can break possible sashes. Not that he has a ton that I could see sash, maybe like the Garbodor if he's a suicide lead set or something like that, but well, if he's lead, he's probably going to lead with it, and then if sash will be broken by my lead more than likely, but it's beside the point. Rocks are always just kind of nice. His team, like I said, is not super rock weak, so if he doesn't have Zapdos or Zapdos is gone or whatever, I may not prioritize them, but it's very nice to have, just in general. And if he does bring the Zapdos, rocks are very important for things like my Yanmega. So there is that. Rapid Spin, because I do want to keep hazards off the field this week. Yanmega is one of my bigger win conditions, so like I said, I just want to keep hazards off the field. Toxic. I was originally going to run Heavy Slam instead of Toxic, just to hit the Mega Audino, deal some damage to things, but then I learned that Heavy Slam did like 25% to Mega Audino, so it just wasn't worth it. So I decided to run Toxic. I can hit incoming Crocodile, can hit maybe an incoming Emboar, Manaphy even if he's not a Rain Dance set, I can hit like a Latios on the switch in if I wanted to, can really hit pretty much anything, and then the things I can't hit with Toxic like Garbodor and Registeel, I can at least Volt Switch out on, get a nice slow Volt Switch out, and send out one of my mons to threaten their Pokemon, which is really nice. So this is our Fortress. It's meant to kind of just maybe get up rocks, maybe spin, get off a Toxic onto something, which could be very nice, and just be a pivot. So take a hit, get a slow Volt Switch out, go into one of my offensive threats like Terrakion or Thundurus or Altaria or Yanmega, and we're good to go. So that is Metal going ahead the Fortress. Let us now move on to the final member of our team and another gigantic win condition, and that is our Mega Altaria. So this is a very interesting spread, and I'll get into this in a minute, but our move pool, you'll notice we do not have Earthquake, despite him having things like Registeel and Garbodor. For one, I don't necessarily expect him to bring Garbodor. If he does, I do have my checks to it. I have the Pilot's line that can switch into it and Earthquake it. I have Thundurus that threatens the EQ on you, Air Slash does a lot, even like Fortress can take a hit, spin away its hazards, Volt Switch out versus it. So if it does come, it's not the biggest problem, and if it doesn't come, that would be kind of as expected. And then for the Registeel, I set up all over Registeel. With my bulk investment here, I can take Iron Heads easily, like it's barely a 3-hit KO with this spread. And I don't think he's going to be running Thunder Wave. Even if he does, I do have the Heal Bell, though he could Paraflinch me. I really think he's going to be running Toxic, because if he runs Thunder Wave, then my Pilot's line just easily counters it. Like I said, Iron Head does absolutely nothing. Also, Thundurus is an easy switch in. He'd much rather Toxic that than waste a turn by going for Thunder Wave. So I'm pretty positive he's going to be running Toxic over Thunder Wave. So I'll be able to set up Dragon Dances all over that thing, go for a Heal Bell. He won't be able to do any damage back to me. If he's running counter, he'll reveal it at some point, and return obviously doesn't OHKO it, like, or doesn't do nearly as much as Earthquake. So once I get up to like so I can just get to +6 versus that thing easily. I also, with this investment, can easily take hits from a Mega Audino's Dazzling Gleam. Like, Dazzling Gleam is also not a 2-hit KO, so I can set up Dragon Dances on that thing, roost up off the damage, and deal with it. Latios also cannot do a ton of damage to me, and that is actually what the speed investment is for. With 140 speed, I will be able to outspeed a Latios that is speed creeping my Terrakion, which is near max speed. I'll be able to outspeed Latios at +1 after the Dragon Dance. So this is just a horrifying Pokemon for his team. He has absolutely nothing for this. Like, if he has Thunder Wave or Toxic on Zapdos if he decides to bring it, once again thinking Toxic for the Pilot's line, otherwise you can't touch it, I'll be able to Heal Bell it off, continue to Dragon Dance up versus things, and be fine. Manaphy has to get to +3 in order to knock me out with Ice Beam, and even then I don't think it's a guaranteed kill if he gets to +3, depending on his investment. So there's that as well, and even then I'll be weakening his Manaphy heavily, which is really, really nice. Hitmonchan is not going to want to stay in. I can beat that thing 1v1. This is a very good switch into Emboar as well. The only thing he can really hit me with is Iron Head, but obviously I switch into its Dual Stabs and Flare Blitz, and Low Kick or Superpower, whatever he's going to have. So this just sets up so well versus his team. It's impressive how well this thing can take hits and then can just set up versus so many things. I'm very glad, or a better way to put this is, I am totally fine with forgoing super effective coverage to hit Registeel just because I can take Iron Heads well. Even if he crits me with Iron Head, I can roost off that damage and then continue Dragon Dancing later on. Heal Bell is very nice for whatever status he's going to have, more than likely Toxic, but I can just set up all over him. It's just such a nice mod for his team. I'll be able to set up against the majority of his members and then just kind of sweep through the rest of his team. I'm expecting this Pokemon to do a lot of work this game. So that is our Mega Altaria. That is the team of 6 that we will be bringing. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you're looking forward to the match. We did end up losing our game last week against Sam, so a win here would be absolutely huge for us. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you in the match.